class. This is Nai Coach, and today we're going to go over distinguishing with physiological cues, mojo reading, Vai versus Nai use. Nai and Vai are worldview map priority powers. They are located back here in the rear left of the psyche. So all mojos, all humans are mojo, and all mojos have either Nai or Vai back here as their worldview map priority power that's conscious, and it'll either be a momentum power or modulation power. So we'll just kind of go through that quickly here, and we'll try to associate that with things to look out for when you're doing your training. When any human disengages from the environment with their eyes going to the left like this, so eyes left like here, up to the left, down to the left, blinking left, anything like that, eyes closed, and you can see the eye rolling down to the left in any way, that signals that a human is accessing their worldview map power, which will be either Nai or Vai. So if you're seeing that eye movement in any human, that's what they're doing. What else? The tilting of the head to the left. If a person tilts the head to the left, they are also accessing this power. People can do it obviously in sportive reasons because the ball is being thrown, they're catching or whatever. But in natural flow, when a person's head goes to left, they're accessing this. What else? Then there is the narrowing of the eyes. There's kind of like, a cultural thing, in literature and whatnot. He narrowed his eyes, she narrowed her eyes. It got all serious. It's true, because these powers back here are powers that make a person rather serious. So mojos that actually have this as priority tend to be rather serious people by nature, and then any mojo, when accessing this power, is getting rather serious on the subject. One of the things the pod there puts forward for people to look at and confirm in nature that it's there is that all humans, in fact, do those things. They disengage to the left of their eyes, head tilts left, they squint their eyes, and when they do so, they're accessing their worldview map, their agenda. So that's one. The next given is that it is either Nai or Vai, and then the third given is, of that, it will be a modulation power or a momentum power, and then a fourth given is that it will be having either a going underwater quality, if it's an objective mojo, or a going home quality if it's a subjective mojo. So those are four givens that we put forward in pod layer as being truths of natural law, and you can go out in natural law in the world and take a look at all the humans, and you'll see that it's true. As with all things doing with mojo reading, from first gear cues to fifth gear cues, spirit forming and beyond, you must have clean samples to work with, so your phenomena, your apparatus, your lens can associate what it actually looks like, because someone can describe for you the difference between a toad and a frog, but really all the verbal descriptions in the world are nothing compared to a good sketch rendering. A good sketch rendering is nothing compared to a equally well done motion picture, say a cartoon even, but a medical forensic level cartoon, that will be better than real life. If you actually had real life, that would actually be awesome to have a real life sample that was actually either in still and then better yet in motion, so on and so forth. So that the same way, it would be better to actually know what a frog and toad move like, look like, etc. by actually looking at real frogs and toads. You would need to actually be able to tell the difference between directives and adaptives by looking at adaptives and directives. Talking about them, talking about the process, it really only hits home, and you really have those ahas when you actually look at it and go, that is a tiger, that is a giraffe. See how whoa, you actually have to see it. And then you get the association later on when two people who've actually seen frogs and toads, jaguars and giraffes, if they both have seen those animals and now they say jaguar, a big one, jaguar, a young one, jaguar, a male one, female, etc. They were doing this, they're doing that. If they're talking to another person who has actually seen these animals, whatever they are in question being used, then it does have a lot of power and it does have a lot of truth to it. But that's because the words associate with a truth. So that's critical. And for that to happen, you must be able to observe. Observe, then name. Not name, then observe. That's important. The way it works, even like as an IG, and we're very conceptual thinkers, is it goes from hearing what natural law is saying to you from your spirit forms of your inner simulator, and then viewing out here with your V to try and see the connection. And then often these will be connections that are unprecedented, so no one maybe has seen them yet. And then you say, the word for this thing I'm seeing, that my spirits are pointing out, but exists in the real world, because that's how you know if you've actually listened to your spirits correctly, or any kind of like inspirational thing that comes to you, an inspirational idea. You're like, okay, that sounds inspired. Let me try it out in the real world. And if you get, whoa, that's a really cool result that no one else had seen before, then yes, cool, you got an insight and received it correctly, because spirits don't talk in the same way that like normal conscious thinking humans do. So there has to be experimentation to verify whether or not you are understanding what your intuitions, your hunches, your etc. are giving to you. With that said, I'm going to go and start to distinguish between Nai and Vai, what the powers are and how they work and how they look in the face a little bit. So when doing that, it's very, very important that you associate that with the real samples. So something you should get familiar with is when I'm saying cross sections of data, as far as like certain kinds of alchemies or whatever amongst mojos, you actually have to know what that is. If you don't, just go blah, blah, blah. No, seriously, you actually need to know it. It's very relevant to the lesson I'm teaching. So right now, you need to know theoretically what these next groups I'm going to say to you are, and you have to be able to pull them into your mind's eye. You should be able to pull in at least 5 of each of the group I'm about to say, easily. Okay, if you can't do that, you should do that before watching the rest of this lesson. Okay, so you should actually know what they look like at all, and then I'll actually give you this lesson, and then go back and see if you can see what I was talking about in the lesson. But first, you have to know these samples I'm talking about. This is a very low bar. You need to actually know theoretically what they are, what that means, have an absolute grasp on that, and know what celeb samples and other like PSA samples that have been put out that go along with that. So when you theoretically put those groups in your head, you actually have real humans to populate that. That's a minimum, so do that before watching this. And then go back and watch as many mojos as you want with the information in this lesson. So what are these groupings? This goes along with what I talked about at the beginning of the givens. There's many givens in Pod Layer that are unprecedented. 4 that were given out just now here. It would go with, you need to be able to tell the difference between Nai and Vai users. So those who use Vai and those who do not. And then those that use one or the other and they have it as momentum or modulation. So all adaptives are going to have it as modulation. And then, sort of like, does that make sense? And so then all objective adaptives are going to have it as modulation and going underwater. Adaptive subjectives are actually going to have it as modulation but going home. Same thing on the directive side. So make sure you actually can pull those up. Pull up 4 quadrants of mojos. Hunters, gatherers. You've done this before, but do it now in the context of what they do when their eyes go left. That's the mental drill. Do this mental drill to warm your tsunami up before watching the rest of this. Just pull in your mind, oh yeah, all mojos go here. So, coach, me, I actually go here with Nai, and I'm a hunter, which means it is momentum for me and going home. Okay? Then you actually have Nija. Nija actually has Vai, and it is modulation and going underwater. Ademus and Jailene, they actually also have Vai, but it is modulation and going home. Okay, and then up here, any of the objective discerners, I mean, they're going to actually have to where they use one of these 2 powers, can be either one, and then whether or not. Yeah, that's basically it. It's going to for all of them, the fighters. The fighters, when they go here, it's going to be momentum, but going underwater. Okay, so those 4 flavors of mojos when they use this. Does that make sense? And there's subdivisions, obviously, because, for example, Ademus and Jailene are both towers. So they actually, when they go eyes left, they're both using Vai. They're both Nez towers. They both use Vai, and it is modulation, and it is going home because they're subjective. Okay, but Ademus has it paired when he goes there. The face does stuff going along with that on the left side. So he has it paired with Ji as his articulator under his Zai cool resonator. Then Jailin, she actually, also being a Nez Tower, has the Vai as modulation, but going home, except when she goes here, it's going to go deadpan. She'll have deadpan going along, because that's on her left side, with underneath. This is underneath the warm resonating tower. So 16 different basic designs, so there's 16 different basic eyes left. But to just get an initial handle on that, just think about, yeah, I would think at least 8 is the minimum, really. You need to think of like interpretive hunters. Yeah, I would actually do it like that. Probably do it, you can just do it by the alphas in a way. But you would actually want to know, like, what does it look like when a Vi alpha goes left, when a Ni alpha goes left, when a Ni tandem goes left, when a Vi tandem goes left, when a Ni offside goes, a tower like Zai V is going to actually have the going left in that way, and then also when you have the Vi of, like, say, a Nez Tower going left. And then up here, same thing. With the Ni alpha, you're actually going to see an objective receiver doing polar eyes left, Vi. Or a V objective receiver is going to be eyes left, Ni, polar. Modulation going underwater. So just try to get the theoretical of that in your head right now, and also try to go look at the lists that you have and associate some people with that. And now I'm just going to tell you what you're going to see. But you need some context. That's your initial context. Technical. Over here you have Vi, that is directive, subjective, literal perception. It's in the perception corridor. It's literal. And then Ni, what I have is going to be directive, subjective, interpretive perception. Okay. What else? Then you have more the sort of like words that you can associate to give some context. But see, that's what I'm talking about. I'm not going to give you words, but these words are slippery because they don't actually associate with actual live things until now. So when I say these words, I don't know what you thought these words meant or looked like or associated before. And you can still keep other versions of these words, but I'm not going to teach you Podler mathematical versions of these words for mojo reading. Any mojo that is a Ni user. So that means when their eyes go left, they use Ni. Whether it's momentum or modulation, the quality that it's going to go for is going to be what Ni is used for. And that's going for getting an agenda, getting a map. So what is the map made of? It's made by searching the unknown. So it includes detachment, call to imagine, conceptualizing, envisioning, synthesis, synergy, inclusiveness, perspective shifting, meaningful insight, seeing the angles, speculation, prediction, global modeling, long-range planning, sense of destiny, visionary drive, independence of mind, secrecy, proactive theorizing, abductive reasoning, including the distinct signals, dissatisfaction with the spectrums of self-possessed to egomaniacal, driven to obsessive, original to maladaptive. Then we have Vi. This is also a map for the psyche for the mojos that have it consciously and unconsciously, which we'll get to in a second. But it makes its maps by tracking what is known. And this includes things such as recall, call to remember, memories, experience, exact information, verifiable data, specificity, practicality, stability, security, consistency, reliability, maintaining, preserving, sense of tradition, historic roots, attention to detail, standards of excellence, solidity, and certainty, and gives off the subsignal, the distinct signal of concern with the spectrums of staunch to rigid, unfailing to boring, and meticulous to nitpicky. So both these powers in the psyche help a person know what to do in situations, essentially. So it creates a map, it gives a person a sense of sureness. Both of them actually give that sense of sureness. One comes from like certainty, one comes from visionary drive, but they both give a sense of sureness. So all mojos, when they need that power, they go to whatever map power they have consciously. And if they have an access to their other, they can also pull in the power of their other's power in that quadrant of the psyche. When you're able to do this, this takes you to your Fumasta, for those who are doing advanced training. But long story short, in more technical terms, it gives you the composition relationship, because all humans actually have either Ni or Vi conscious, which means that the other one that humans have is in the unconscious. So there's a lot of benefit to learning about both, because you really need to learn about one through the other. So counterpoint, that's one. Without counterpoint, it's difficult to understand Nai or Vi, because really they're one thing. So they're actually half of one thing. So in order to understand that half, you would have to have counterpoint to your other half in the oneness. This composition relationship is very important, because that is what it truly is, the map. So let's talk about the map. I'm going to read over the qualities of Nai and Vi again, except this time I'm not going to do them separately. I'm going to mix them together to give you the quality of this part of the psyche, the quality of the worldview map. This is what the worldview map as a total spell in the psyche and a synonymy of a given human in the collective of the tribe of humanity. That's what it does. So let's learn about it. Let's be in awe of it. Let's love it. Let's honor it. I'll now read through the elements of Vi and Nai, but this time not separating them, bringing them together in their true composition relationship, showing without the perceived duality of conscious and unconscious. When you actually are able to see past that, you see that actually it is one thing. It is the map, the worldview map of the psyche. The worldview map for all humans in the psyche provides a way to know your way around the terrain of the known and the unknown. This concerns itself with things such as recall and detachment, call to remember and call to imagine, memories and conceptualizing, experience and envisioning, exact information and synthesis, verifiable data and synergy, specificity and inclusiveness, practicality and perspective shifting, stability and meaningful insight, security and seeing the angles, consistency and speculation, reliability and prediction, maintaining and global modeling, preserving and long-range planning, sense of tradition and sense of destiny, historic roots and visionary drive, attention to detail and independence of mind, standards of excellence and proactive theorizing, solidity and abductive reasoning, certainty and etc. You get the idea. And then of course you have self-possession and staunch, driven and unfailing, original and meticulous. Okay, this is a very serious priority. This is like it helps people take things very, very seriously. It helps them to canvas. It helps them to research. We use the terms a lot. Do your research. Have you canvassed? Those are concerns of the worldview map. Take a look at the celebrity samples that are out there and note that when they're doing what they're say we're doing, going to the left, that's what's happening, and match up these mathematical variables. For example, match up that when Jailene, Demas, and Nisha, when their eyes go to the left, that they actually get serious, as all people do when their eyes go left. Eyes left is getting serious, it's tracking, it's hunting, it's searching, seeking, okay? Focused seeking. So all humans, when they go eyes left, that's what they're doing. Okay, so note that, and then note the fact that it actually looks different than when I do that. For the reasons that I have Nai and the fact that it's momentum. But then take a look, for example, at Jaivi and compare the Jaivi to Jailene and other Jaini. So they're both going to have offside worldview map power use, but it'll actually be looking serious, but serious cunning with the Nai, serious prepared with the Vi, going along with the power flows that are accessed when the human goes there. Any human going eyes left, they're accessing worldview map serious, canvassing, researching, searching, hunting powers. The question is, which one, and is it momentum or modulation, and are they going underwater or going home? Something else to notice, if you look at all mojos when they have when you're able to tell that when they do the various things that say which quadrant of the psyche they're using, that there's always one of two powers. And two things that you look for are the energetic rise that it gives off, and the energetic rise or ebb, that lets you know if that is momentum or modulation for the individual. But the other thing you look for is yang and yin. And you can do that to any of the power couplets, composition couplets that occupy a quadrant, is they're going to actually be able to be compared to the other one. and always one of them will be more yang than the other. In this relationship here, it is Vai. Vai is more yang than Nai is. Nai is more yin. They're both yang powers. Their actual yang-yin breakdown is, for Nai is yang because it is directive. It is yin because it's subjective. It is yin because it is perception. And it is yin because it is interpretive. That's a specific yinness, because it's very similar to Vai in a lot of ways, but it gets the open hand because it is the yin, it is the interpretive. Interpretive in this context is the yin to the yang of literal. Vai is also going to be yang because it is directive. It's a yang power because it is directive, it's on the left. It's also going to be yin though because it is subjective like Nai is. It's also yin because it's a perception power as compared to a discernment power. But then it's yang, closed hand, closed fist here, because it is literal to the interpretive of Nai. So things you also look for is the fact that whenever you are using one of these two powers, it's going to have a reaching quality. You're looking, you're searching for data. This searching quality, the data you're looking for gives a different look. Vai tends to look like you're looking at fine print. I'm looking at fine print in some way. Not even like a squinting way. It can even be like eyes not squinting. It's just, I can't do it. But look at Ademus, look at Jilene, look at Nija, look at all of the Ni mojos and Vi mojos that are in the samples that have been put out so far. They'll all have that quality of kind of looking at fine print when they use their Vi. The worldview map power. For Nai, like myself, and all Nai mojos and all V mojos, when our eyes go left, we're also going to be searching, but it's sort of like the way you would look at a puzzle. When someone's eyes are looking at a puzzle, so to speak, so as it's in the mind's eye, but it's like you're looking at a puzzle like in the back of a cereal box. We're told that there is so many missing items. Where are they? And it may be a trick question that maybe there's more items than they actually said are in there. So you have to find items that aren't immediately apparent to people, and it may even be more than they actually said are hidden in the the back jungle or whatever. So when Nai users, momentum or modulation, when they do their power eyes left, when they're squinting, anything where it's accessing their Nai, it will give off the quality of what's missing. To make sense? Vi is like, what's this? What is that? They're looking at something specific. Nai is what's missing. So they both have a searching, but Vi has like a going through a catalog of details, or like going over like the details of something, trying to touch the right detail, trying to find the right thing to pull out. Where Nai has like, what's missing? That's what I need to pull out. I need to pull out what I've never seen before, what no one's seeing. Looking at fine print versus looking at a puzzle. That's what it looks like as far as a tonal difference. Something else with these powers is that it does come into the voice, for example, because of articulation is this up here, but the articulator is being fed by the agenda. So Vi in the articulator gives a bit of a drone. I can't even do it again. You're just going to have to look it up, Vi drone. Look at all the mojos that actually use Vi. Either Vi mojo or their Ni mojo and have as modulation, but either way, they use Nai as a conscious power. Listen to them when they're talking, particularly when they're talking and doing a lot of eyes left as they're talking. They're channeling as they're talking on the left. They're squinting while they're talking. Anytime you see them articulating, but also accessing the worldview map, drone, you'll hear the drone. And those who actually have it high momentum, like say Vi Alpha, the drone will be there pretty much all the time. It's part of their distinct signal actually in a way, and a vocal, as a vocal element or aspect. Nai, on the other hand, gives the articulation a lilt. It has a lilt to it. The way I talk, if you hear it, there's just a natural lilt to the way it's going. Again, lilt. What does that mean? You've probably read the word lilt in a novel you've read, okay? People say that word all the time, but here it means something mathematical. And what it means is, listen to the way I talk. Listen to the way that Nai Z talk. Go look at the samples. Look at the way that the Nye tandems do it, the Nez fighters. Listen to the sound of their voice. Compare my voice to a Vai G. Compare a Nye Z's voice to a Vai Z. Compare a G Vai's voice to a G Nye, a Z Nye's voice to a Z Vai. Do all those comparisons, listening to the articulation. And you do the same thing with the adaptives. For example, listening to Jai Ni articulate compared to a Jai V. The Jai V actually get a more cunning look coming over their aspect when their eyes go left than Jai Ni do, and they actually get more of a lilt in their voice as they articulate. But that's because Jai V has Nye and Z on their left side consciously. So as they do map searching and they do articulation, which includes the agenda as part of it, connecting the compound relationship, you'll actually see increasing of the interpretive signal, increasing of the syncopated rhythm of a literal, a Jai V. Whereas with Jai Ni, Jailin, other Jai Ni, also Demas, Zai Ni, Nija, Nijai, all of them actually have Vai over here. So when they actually start going to articulate and they're using a lot of their agenda, they will actually have a drone that comes to the voice. They actually do not show, they actually show more of their literal self when they are articulating. Although they are interpretives, they show their literal self when going here. As opposed to myself, when I go left, I'm interpretive and I'm showing my interpretiveness when my eyes go left. I show my literal side when my eyes perk up with my V. So that kind of points to the Ni mojos. When they're actually doing their free form, drinking in the environment, that's actually their interpretive momentum. So some counterpoints there, because all these things you really often only know what they really mean by counterpointing them with other elements. That's actually how you know all of them. And all these qualities, they actually go along with what's happening, but also they go along with humans having evolved, seeing their fellow humans do that. So humans have evolved to take that signal in. The Vai, the drone, the concern, the prepared look, all the power flows that go with it, the fine print aspect that comes to their face when the eyes go left, it gives a feeling of reliability as compared to the unpredictability of Nye. When Nye is looking at a puzzle, since the person's not quite sure what they're going to pull out of what's missing, the people who are watching this get the feeling that something's going to pop out that may not have contextual relevance. So it gives an unpredictable energy, even though humans may not know why consciously. Unconsciously they do. Humans have evolved looking at other humans, and all mojos, all humans, they go eyes left, getting serious, getting the worldview map, and either goes Nye or Vai. And other humans have watched people's eyes go left during this whole evolutionary process. So it's a co-evolution of both that happening and the other humans interpreting the body language of their fellow human. And this gets into the energetics of, for example, distinct signals, how the spectrums can go one way or the other. Because, for example, my voice has a lilt to it. This I know because as a Naiji, one of the things we're gifted at is shape-shifting and also going native. So I'm aware that if I change the way I talk, if I Zai it in certain ways or I Ji it in certain ways, that it gets different results. So one of the things is my natural way of speaking tends to inspire people with a lilt of it, that bardic lilt that both the Durams have. It also bothers certain people. That's important. First of all, the lilt can be done poorly, so just the sound of a poorly done lilting is not good at all. But it can also be that certain mojos energetically do not find that as pleasing because there's an innate syncopated or broken rhythm going on with the way Nye thinks. So when the eyes go left, they look like a person who's having mystery thoughts, broken rhythm thoughts, syncopated thoughts. As opposed to the Vai, which has the accentuated thoughts, the fine print, the going for the known. This actually hits energetically other people with their wiring. For example, a V alpha is designed energetically to be inspired by the sound of the drone voice because it actually is like the humming in a way, or the droning or what are you going to call it, of like a finely tuned engine just going along, and you listen, there's no snapple or popple or anything that lets you know that it might break down. It sounds like something that will not break down. And Vai is built to not break down, to maintain, to preserve, to hold the course, to keep to what is known, valued, and treasured. So that's really, really cool. And so those who are energetically wired to be more on that channel, like say other Vai mojos or V mojos, they actually will be energetically fed. They're fed energetically off their fellow human by the way their eyes move. Just watching a Vai Alpha's eyes go left, their eyes narrowing, the drone coming into the voice, the seriousness, the gravitas, the groundedness, the tradition, the legacy, the sureness, the certainty. Okay, that's extremely appealing and energizing to V. Then, for example, the same thing with Nai to Ni. And then if you can take it further, you can actually get beyond just initial cursory reactions that have a lot to do with means, because humans were evolved to get along with all social alchemies. It's just a question of what social alchemy relationships you've had in your life and experiences. And so when you meet new people that you consciously or unconsciously register their mojo or motif or whatever to you, your past experiences, your current lens. So past experience and current lens grade level are going to determine if you see that as a positive or negative. But if you actually are heroic and healthy yourself, the other people are heroic and healthy, all involved are knowing, then it's supposed to be good relationships all the way throughout social alchemy to every mojo. So how does that done? For example, me being a Nai mojo, I actually can really appreciate the fact that Vai is in composition with Nai. The gravitas they bring, the seriousness, the way they research things, they do their preparation, they come ready. When I say they, I mean anyone who uses Vai. You know what I mean? Vai source, Vai tandem, Vai offside, Vai polar. Any human who's doing heroic Vai, it's the other side of the composition of a map. And I enjoy the mystery of Nai and that kind of process, but it's also the fact that it cracks cases. It breaks cases, it tells people and systems where to go next. It gives you sureness, the power of the map. And once you can see that Vai is also a map and it's designed to be heroic, then you are a map mate. You see them as a fellow map mate. So any human who has Nai or Vai, and then wherever it falls in their psyche as far as a priority ranking, that was meant to be like that, to give humans the total appropriate, heroic, harmoniously productive worldview maps. We're supposed to have, because we're the most evolved awesome thing out there, we're supposed to all have one. And then it's supposed to actually have half of us having Nai, half of us having Vai, and then those go in 4 different rankings. And then you actually have the other one you're missing represented in your inspirational other. So it's perfectly matched in compositional relationship to yours. It's magnificent, it's beautiful, it's powerful, it's just everything awesome. All right, Jailene is going to be putting out a quiz soon, so you can take a look at that, and she'll be focusing on what I just went over, eyes left, and the differences between them. And so the samples that you'll try to guess on will be to distinguish those cues. So before you do that, now that you've listened to my lesson, go back to the ones you know and try and see if you can tell them apart. And if you can start to massage that muscle, that you're like, yes, I can actually see Pink, when she goes eyes left, it is modulation, it is underwater, it's cunning. When Nisha, when she actually goes eyes left, it's actually also modulation going underwater, but it's actually prepared. It's actually concerned. Then you actually have Jailene and the demons, etc., etc. Just track and make that association in your mind, and use that muscle that you've developed and that ritual I'm giving you now. Do that and take it to the quiz that Jailene's gonna give you. Okay? And your muscle will get stronger and stronger, and next thing you know, you will actually be an artistic badass.